All right, everybody, welcome to yet another Lightning Strikes Twice, the super fast, hyper condensed version of our lightning rounds, where we have one topic apiece and 5 minutes to discuss. So I
Pew
think
pew
Casey,
pew pew pew
I
pew pew.
think Casey, you are first.
All right. How about uh, the concept of this? I'm sure you've heard of this. What do you think about this AI death calculator?
Oh, I haven't actually heard of that. So
Well,
tell.
oh, really?
I
So,
mean, I've kind of saw like something in a YouTube recommendation about it, but
yeah, I guess some researchers came up with like a surprisingly accurate prediction of when you'll die
hmm,
using AI. And
interesting.
I don't really know. I haven't like read into it too much. I don't know how they determined how accurate that is, unless they were like looking into the past and asking it questions or something.
Oh, I
Who
suppose.
knows?
Yeah.
But I, like mainly, I'm wondering like, is that something you would ever try? Like, do you
I,
want to even know?
I don't.
Like,
I honestly, I'd rather not know. You know,
right,
I think it's better to live your life, fully, and not be concerned about like, oh my God, like oh, I only have like 4 years left or something. No, just carry on. I think you have a better life that way. I don't know. Would you be curious?
not. I mean, curious, sure, but like, do I really want to know if I'm a brain in a jar?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I,
exactly.
yeah, I feel like that. Um, I don't know, like that's we have all these stories from mythology about consulting the oracle and whatnot, right? Like, and it's
Mhm.
it's always kind of a cautionary tale. Like, don't screw around with trying to determine what's going to happen in the future, and then if you already know what's going to happen, you sit there stressing about trying to change it, and then what if that stress is what causes it, and blah 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 blah. And
Yeah, that's a good
temporal
point.
causality goes out the window, and
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that there's well, obviously, the a death calculator like that can only really take into consideration like you in a vacuum. There's
right.
so many other factors that could come into play that it can't possibly foresee. Like, oh, I don't know, getting in a car accident, falling off a ladder or something. These things
Yeah,
that
I
it's like,
mean, it can probably take in information like what's your daily commute like and stuff like that, and then base percentages and stuff. But like even humans are kind of screwed up when it comes to that because my dad smoked pipes a little bit for I don't know, let's say 10 years of his
yeah,
life, um, give or take, and it wasn't super often. Like he would just kind of sometimes go out to the garage and light up a pipe and he wouldn't smoke around me. So, and he took care of me all the time. So it's not like he had all the time in the world to go smoke his pipe and stuff.
yeah.
Anyway, I convinced him to quit smoking sometime in the 80s as a little kid. And I see his death certificate, uh, and it lists tobacco use as a cause of death.
What?
There's no
What the
way in
hell?
hell that's even remotely possible in his
Well,
case. Yeah, he
and
had
that's
breathing problems and heart trouble and stuff like that, but
look, that's
I can tell you it was not related to smoking.
well, certainly not a pipe. That's like you
No,
don't usually like inhale that.
no.
It's just it's in your mouth basically. But I mean, same thing with
Mhm.
cigars, right? Like I or dip or chewing tobacco, things like that. It's not the same as like smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So
I
that's kind
mean,
of ridiculous.
yeah. I mean, like, if he had given it up like 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, okay, maybe. But like
Yeah,
nearly
yeah.
40 years ago, he gives this up.
I
And
exactly.
in the meantime, he like worked out so much and got super buff, and like, that renews some of your life too,
Oh yeah.
like that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
exactly. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see what something like that calculates. I mean, AI is getting pretty good now. So I mean, I'm sure it could be relatively close to accurate as far
Yeah.
as like lifestyle and health and blah 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 and stuff. I mean, because it can take all the information that's available and put it together and start to kind of recognize patterns and things like that. And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of a little kind of a gimmicky thing, I think, but it's also something that could be like this kind of thing. AI in general can do some amazing things. And
Yeah. But imagine your life insurance company gets a hold of this.
oh,
You know,
ooh, you're
like,
right. Oh man, that's a good point. Like they make you mandate that you take the test.
right.
Ooh, that's a really scary thing, man. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, well that's time. I guess that's
Ah.
a good way to end it there. um,
Drop the
so
life
mine,
insurance bomb and then ding.
yeah, yeah. So mine is surprisingly kind of related
Huh.
to yours, which is weird. We seem to do that often. So okay, I heard about this story fairly recently of this elderly couple that the man had a terminal illness and the woman was old. I mean, they were fairly old, and they both went to Switzerland to undergo a joint assisted suicide.
Hmm.
So, what do you think about that? So, like, the woman didn't have an illness, but she was old, and they had been together for a really long time.
Yeah, I've heard of this happening. Might have even been a completely separate story. Um, given I knew for for a fact that my parents would probably die very close together, the whole dying of a broken heart thing, which honestly, I can't imagine the suffering that that must be, like
Oh, yeah,
to have over 50 years with somebody in your life like you've come to depend on, you've come to like just completely get used to them.
yeah,
It would be like losing a limb.
yeah,
and
yeah,
and even worse, this is a limb that loved you back,
yeah,
right? So
exactly.
uh I I mean, I already we've done an episode or several episodes on relatively around this topic, but
Hmm.
I'm all for something like that because like let's say you never even had kids, like this is all you've got. Like this person was your whole world, like everything that you enjoy, you did together, and then you try to picture doing those things without that person in your life anymore, and it's not the same.
Well, especially after you've hit a certain age, like I think I agree. I'm all for it, and I think it's good because it's like if you're gonna go out on your own terms.
Yeah.
You know, not like I. That's kind of my thought. Like I figured, like if I had some kind of terminal illness, then I'd take up really crazy, dangerous hobbies like skydiving or wingsuit flying or something.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Stunt
I,
flying or something.
I mean, to me, it's like asking, well, do you think it's right if you and your spouse leave the restaurant at the same time, if even if you finished eating first? Like, well, I'm done. We can go now. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I think it's like, yeah, because like you said, I think it's inevitable that the other partner would probably pass away soon too, dying of a broken heart, basically.
hmm.
I mean, you at that age, that amount of time, your lives are so intertwined, and yeah, like why not? Why not
Yeah.
go out together in a manner of your choosing, a time of your choosing, and you can even have family present. In fact, Star Trek Next Generation did something about that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What was the episode? God, I can't remember. The
Oh yeah.
They had to kill themselves at 60 or something, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
What, half a life or
maybe
something.
that's it. Yeah.
And yeah, it was a really good concept, as usual,
Hmm.
with TNG, and I feel like that's one of those weird things about human society. Like we really like poo-poo the whole idea of suicide, but really like the amount of suffering that you go through. I mean, which is pretty much almost a given, right? Like there will be suffering, whether it's
Yeah.
physical, mental, whatever. What's not a given is if you'll meet the new love of your life, and these are all the what ifs that people are like, well, it's not the end of the world. If your spouse dies, you might find another lover and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, maybe you don't want to,
Yeah.
even if you would and might go with that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what your belief system is, how do you reconcile that in heaven, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Like you get to heaven, now you've got two wives waiting for you. Ooh.
That's a that's a good point. Oop,
I
this
mean,
is
you're all
awkward.
cool with that. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna get up there and you're gonna have your own like rec center, like
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. And I think maybe it makes sense at a certain age. If you're like in your 30s, it really doesn't make sense. But
or if
maybe
you're
like
like terminally ill or something.
yeah, 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 okay, yeah, that makes sense. But if there's still opportunities for the future, then maybe that's where I'm not so sure.
Right. I mean, but ultimately, like I don't think you can put a an age on it, right?
Oh, that's time.
I mean, just basically saying that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's up to the individual.
Yeah.
Like we
All
can
right.
passing our morality onto somebody else or pushing it onto people is not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Well,
If you wanna end it, end it.
yeah.
Including this video because we're done. So be gone.